Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you okay and I can see you okay. Looks like signal is good so far, so that's always a good start.
Perfect.
Good. Okay, no lag, huh?
You're a
Okay.
little bit low on my phone, Art. I don't know. I can't hear
My
you
body
super
is
well.
okay. I
Can
don't
you
know.
turn
I
up
don't
your
know.
volume or is it
Um,
my technology?
it could be, if you have, I don't know. I don't know. Let's see what everybody say if you could see my head or if I'm cut off or something. As of now, I think it looks good, but oh, the volume. Is the volume bad? Okay. Give me 1 second, and I am going to switch to headphones. Cool. Can you get me good? It's okay now.
Perfect.
Okay.
You're perfect. Hi,
Good.
everyone.
Never mind then. All right. Hi. All right. Well, why don't we start with you telling us kind of who you are and what you do, and more importantly about NOWFE.
Perfect. Hi, everyone. I'm Aimee Brown. I'm the executive director of the New Orleans Wine and Food Experience, also known as NOWFE. And so, just to give a little bit of background, we are a 28-year-old food and wine festival in amazing New Orleans. We are 5 full days of events from morning until night. We have an event for everybody during those 5 days. Show some New Orleans love in the comments if you've been to New Orleans before, and also if you've been to NOWFE. But I love this festival because there's an event for everybody, whether you are a beginner to wine or you're a real wine connoisseur and love some smaller events like our labs, or you like our grand tastings that have 500 different wines to try. There's something for everyone.
Well, and I'll just chime in and say that we've been doing it. I think this would have been our third year this year. So really, since we started, you were one of our first events, and events are really big to a smaller wine label, kind of getting their name out. This is one of our favorites. We're from New Orleans, so it's sort of the big event in New Orleans. So we love it, and we do a wine dinner, we do vinola. We're going to do a lab this year. So lots of fun. It is something that you guys want to check out. It is a great excuse to go spend 5 days in New Orleans and eat all the food and drink all the wine you possibly can imagine. And it's just super. So we're so glad to see that, things are kind of coming back online, and we want to talk about that with you. And what we thought we'd do is sort of run through some wines. We'll do two wines with NOWFE, and then we'll do two with Horatio. And Horatio is kind of a part of it now, and whether he wants to be or not, he is in the NOWFE special,
I
and
love
so we're gonna have some fun. We'll probably try to get him to come to NOWFE. I think that would be cool.
Oh, that would be
So
the best.
so
Hooray,
we'll
too.
work on all that. But do you have your? I think we just start by like seeing what you have. You have your Chardonnay handy.
I've got it. I'm
Okay, cool.
here,
So
guys.
this is one of the wines that we would have poured at NOWFE, and it is a wine that we would have done. We were going to have a lab. It was actually going to be us and Lando Wine and Corsi Grays, and we were going to talk about sort of it's the David versus Goliath panel. It would have been small wines and how you make a small wine label grow and work. And so let's talk about this Chardonnay. I'm going to pour a little bit for myself, but
All right, guys. And now, for attendees that are on here, I hope that you have your iconic New Orleans wine and food experience glass. And if you come for the first time, if you're a friend of Flambeaux wine, you get to keep these when you come to the festival, and it's a nice little collection to start. So cheers.
cheers, absolutely. And mine looks a little bit like a rosé. It's only because I had a little bit of red at the bottom. I was doing some spot sampling, but it tastes. I promise you, it tastes just the same. So, for those of you that don't know about our Chardonnay, we try to do it. It is a little bit, for lack of a better word, we don't like a lot of butter or oak on our Chardonnay. There is certainly oak here. It's 100% French oak, but it's 40% new. So, Aimee, you'll see as you taste it, you get that fruit. And we use San Giacomo Vineyards fruit. These people have been growing forever. They make beautiful Chardonnay grapes, and I would hate for you to lose that with too much oak. So, very much Ryan's concept, but what he thinks is, look, let's have some new oak so you get that oak flavor, but don't have it dominate, and so you don't want to lose that fruit. So hopefully you're seeing that really pretty citrus notes, and it's got a
Okay.
lot going on, a lot of complexity, and a really great finish. And
I,
by the way, guys, as we see questions, we will try to answer. Just know that we can't answer them all, but we'll certainly try to answer what we see. And I see that somebody said, "Is it dry?" It's certainly not a sweet wine. It's on the drier side, but it's got those fruit notes. So you don't feel like, I mean, you're certainly tasting something that to your palate has some sweetness to it. So
I love this wine, and I'll tell you why. I mean, I love Chardonnay, but I feel like I have a lot or some people in my life that feel like they need to drink a full-bodied red in order to experience flavor. And I would love to pour them a glass of this because it's so flavorful. I'm getting so much here with the flavor intensity. And I think that I could just bring this wine to a dinner and it would appease all different types of people. A new wine drinker, someone with a more experienced palate, and it would be a crowd pleaser. I could just so see this as a household staple for me and have so many different types of people love this Chardonnay.
and Aimee, that's sort of our style. If we have a style, it is that we try to make wines that are complex, really interesting to somebody who's been drinking for 30 years. They will love this wine, but we don't want it to be so much of anything that a new drinker, someone just coming in, is going to be like blown away by either the tannins or the oak, whatever the wine may be. So I think you'll see that in this wine, and frankly, all the wines that we taste through. So hopefully we'll get some people trying this. And I saw a question about the next scheduled date. Can you give people some information on that?
Sure. So as you guys might have heard, we had to postpone our dates. We were originally March 18th to the 22nd and had to postpone it 1 week before we were due to put on the festival. It was definitely devastating at the time, but we're super positive moving forward. Like I said, we have so many different types of events. Some of our events are for only 40 people. That's a lab. So we're really positive moving forward, thinking that we can do something this fall, just because we do have events that really can cater to the rules and regulations of the city. So we're really excited to move forward doing something, and hopefully the full extent of NOWFE this fall.
Yeah, no, I mean, fingers crossed, because we love to do it all. And we love our wine dinner. We were going to have one this time around at the Rib Room. And I think our first year we did the Ritz-Carlton, and we move around, and it's fun to see all these different friends who carry our wine. So someone asked, where is the Chardonnay sold? You're not going to find that at retail stores in Louisiana. Generally speaking, the Chardonnay is something that we will sell to a few select restaurants, but it's mostly for our club and our customers that order online. So don't be afraid to order online. We have a summer solution. So it's basically like overnight shipping, but at a reduced rate. So your wines won't get cooked, they won't be hot, and they'll arrive in the condition intended. So if you like this, you want to try the Chardonnay, or if you like it, get more, just go on our website. It's very easy.
I love that. And Art, I thought, for your followers, I did talk a little bit about NOWFE, but I'd love to show my followers that might be on the live a little bit more about you, because I was thinking today, there's so many different types of wine that I love, but it makes such a difference when I know the story and the history. And what I love about Flambeaux wine is that 3 generations of your family are involved, and you have deep roots in New Orleans that you've brought to Sonoma. So I'd love if you could kind of talk
Yeah.
a bit more.
Yeah, I'll give you the short version, but the short version is that we're all from New Orleans, and I guess sort of an act of insanity, we moved here. We didn't necessarily plan to have a wine label. We knew we had a vineyard, and we were selling the grapes at the time to some pretty good winemakers. So we knew we had good grapes, but ultimately, as everything happens, it snowballs. We decided to do a label, start off small. We only did cab those first 2 years, but then people started to love it, started to join the club, and so we were adding different varietals. Now we have the Zin, the Chardonnay, the Rosé. We have a reserve cab that we'll drink with Horatio. So it's been a fun adventure going from New Orleans, but we love to go home and visit and see everybody. So the excuse to be there for 5 days and do this event would just be awesome. And we'll try to get everybody back that was going to go with us, Lando and Corsi Graves and all our friends, and do that lab. And just, I really encourage everybody to go. If not this year, go in the future. It is just amazing. And it's just such a, New Orleans is a food town, and it's a wine town. It all fits. So that's who we are. We're all about celebrating, having fun. That's kind of the New Orleans spirit. And you'll see that in the festival, and you'll see that in our wine, I think.
I love that. And one more thing about the festival that you mentioned, not only is it fun to come into New Orleans for 5 days of drinking amazing wine and eating the best food, but we are also a nonprofit organization. So when you come and experience NOWFE, you're giving back with your ticketing dollars for culinary education programs in New Orleans. And what that means is we pick 2 beneficiaries this past 2 years that give back in terms of giving a scholarship for their culinary schools. And so I love that about NOWFE. I mean, not only are we a festival, but you know that you're coming and enjoying and doing it for a great cause.
I love it. And so I threw a picture up here. This is, I believe, the grand tasting. So the grand tasting is the big sort of, I mean, they're all big, but grand tasting is, as you can imagine, it's got the food and the wine and just a big crowd. Obviously, it's kind of a jumping event. Then they do, Aimee, the picture's kind of small, but you know, that's the stroll, and it's really cool. Tell them about that. I just love that part of it.
So our main events are the grand tastings, which is the photo that you saw before. And for people that are in this chat that are living in New Orleans, we have that at the Sugar Mill, which you know is so much fun. So 2 days of the grand tastings at the Sugar Mill. It's such a blast. And then the photo right after that was the Royal Street Stroll. That is our quintessential New Orleans event. That event has been going on, I want to say, 27 years. So when you think of NOWFE, you think of the Royal Street Stroll. We block off 8 blocks of the historic street. We have wineries and all of the art galleries. So you're kind of parading in and out of the galleries to get your wine. Big white tents in the street with food. It's so much fun.
No, I love it. And then I've got, this is a picture you guys might like. That's Paul. That's one of our team members. He was pouring at vanilla because I think I had something else to do across town or something. And it's just fun. It gets a good crowd. I'm trying to, let me see. So this is Vinola here. I'm sorry it's small. But no, it's just a great time. And I think everyone should check it out. I will tell you that, that we got a few questions while we were talking, and I'm just looking here. Can we ship to Delaware? The answer is I think so. I have to check the DTC rules. There are only a few states that don't allow direct-to-consumer. So, guys, you don't always have to go to your grocery. In fact, when you go to your grocery, you're going to find some beautiful wines, but you're going to find wines that are pretty mass distributed. You're not going to find us all over the country. You're going to need to go and see, you know, on our website some of the wines that we offer because most are not sold in stores. Louisiana is an exception because we're from there, so we're pretty heavily distributed there. And then the other question is, are we open for tastings? The answer is yes. We are doing tastings at our winery. Club members can actually taste here at this vineyard behind me, which is always fun. But if we haven't gotten to know you yet, no big deal. You can see us at the winery. You book online. It's very easy. And but then another place to see us is, in fact, NOWFE. So I'm just going to have to keep pushing it. You got to go see it.
And NOWFE people, if you are in Sonoma, you have to visit Art at Grand Cru Custom Crush. It's so much fun. I was able to visit him and the other wineries there last October, and I had a blast. And to be able to see how the wine is made, it was such an awakening for me to have all of that knowledge and see that firsthand. Go visit them. It's so much fun.
Yeah, and so one other question we got was, do you have any reds? We have lots of reds, so I thought we'd do, just to keep things in the tasting moving, we're going to pour this Zin. Do you have it handy, Aimee?
I do.
So we do have reds, and the Zin is a beautiful red, and it comes from this property right behind me. In fact, those are the Zin grapes behind me. I always tell people, when it comes to Zin, when I first started trying it, I didn't know a lot about it. It ended up being an amazing varietal to me, and I loved it, and we had it, so why not? But I do find with Zin, it's a very fruit-forward grape, and Aimee, you'll see when you're tasting it, we try to do things to sort of tame that down. So we're not too peppery, which is something that you can see on a Zin, and we're also not too fruit-forward, not too jammy, as some people say. So it's a nice balance. In fact, for a Zinfandel, you don't see a lot of Zinfandels that don't kind of want to punch you in the face, and this one's elegant and approachable and soft, but also has a lot going on.
I love that.
And this is a wine you can get at retailers in New Orleans, certain retailers. We're at a few places like Rouse's, and then, of course, a bunch of restaurants. So, you know, Rouse's is sort of an old New Orleans grocery, and Dorgnac's, and we love being at sort of some of the ones that I remember from my time there. So, yeah. And there was a good comment there that there's no heat on the Zin. Aimee, you notice that Zins tend to be high alcohol, and when I say hot, that's what I mean when you're tasting a lot of that alcohol. This one is only 15.1 maybe. or 14.9. So it's I know that doesn't it's hard to imagine, but if you're at a 16%, which is some Zins can be, that's hot, and you will feel that alcohol faster. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it really is. So I always tell people, if you ever go to a Zinfandel tasting, Aimee, that's just Zinfandel, by hour 2, people are just on the floor. Whereas a normal tasting, maybe it's hour 3. So anyway,
That's so New Orleans though. So I'm like, eh.
yeah. And, but Zin is a great wine, Aimee, because it can kind of pair with a lot. What I love about both the Chardonnay and the Zin is, we're in New Orleans where there's amazing food. And I mean, you know this better than anybody. And we have sort of big buttery dishes, and we have these big rich, sometimes a lot of fried food. These wines pair well with that because they're not competing for that big, so if you have a big buttery, for instance, like a Trout Meunier, you're not going to want a big buttery Chardonnay, but this Chardonnay would work very well with it.
I think that's so true. I love that you picked these 2 wines for our tasting, because I was going to say I could imagine eating with anything, like even the Chardonnay. Typically, you would think for a white wine, oh, seafood. No, I could imagine drinking the Chardonnay with a meat dish. I mean, I could have anything where not only would it be good with the food, it would amplify those flavors of the dish and make the dish even better. So I think that this is amazing. I'm really picking up on the candied cherries. I'm picking up on the baking spices. I mean, this is perfect for me. I love it.
Yeah, you've got a good palate. And I mean, I always tell people, you may not taste everything that the winemaker says he tastes, and that's fine. It's just what you like. But I will say that with this vineyard, and I'll show you the soil. So that's the vineyard right behind me. I don't know if you can tell, but it's super red, and that's just that it's very iron rich. It's got a lot of minerality. This vineyard kind of has a really special minerality, and we don't want you to lose that. So we actually put French oak on this Zin. Most people don't do that. It's just a matter of economy. It's sort of hard to justify, but we think it's worth it. And, we actually drop a lot of fruit to get this fruit to have sort of an interesting complexity. And so we'd rather sacrifice yield for quality. And that's not something that everybody can do. And I get that. But to us, it's more important to have a beautiful wine that people will fall in love with. And over time, we'll develop the audience and we'll add quantities, etc. But we're just having a lot of fun. So to your question about why we're here, and the answer is we're having fun. It's just a great place to be. We do miss home. We miss you guys. We can't wait to be there and be kind of back in it again. But so why don't you so we've sort of tasted these 2 wines. We're going to get Horatio to come in a little bit and do some cabs together. And, we're going to encourage him to go to NOWFE and other things. I'm going to get him to take me to Argentina too, but that's a separate issue. So why don't you just kind of tell us a little bit more just generally about, how things are going for the restaurants in New Orleans. I'm sure people are really curious about that. And I know you're pretty much talking to those guys every day.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are starting to see things open up, and NOWFE really wants to support the community during this time. We actually are having a summer wine dish series because we want to normalize these restaurants opening up. So we're looking to do that for the months of July, August, and September to show people it's all right to go out to eat and really encourage people to do that. And so that's what's giving us hope as well, that we will be able to put on some events, if not everything, this fall, because we are seeing, a different version of life, but we are kind of getting back to it. So we're really excited, and we're all on board and supporting our community right now. And we're just seeing things push forward, and the community is doing a really good job of that. I'm excited.
So, Aimee, I had a fun idea, and I want to put you on the spot before we conclude. I want you to know, you had mentioned that maybe we could take over your account, which I think is an insane offer, but I think it would be fun. We're thinking maybe like later in the summer, we'll do a takeover, and all day we'll drive around seeing different wineries that we're going to participate in NOWFE and film, like Sam Lando in his element, and Corsi Grays will go over there and do the wine cellar and the cave. I think it could be a lot of fun, and we'll just be for the day. We'll be NOWFE, and we'll make it a good time. So
please do. I would love that, and I know that your followers love seeing everything that's going on in New Orleans too. So I'd love to show people in Sonoma what happens in our city. That would be so much fun.
Let's split it back and forth. I love it. I think it could be a lot of fun. So we're going to plan on that. And if you have anything that you want people to remember or no before we switch over to Horatio? I really want to hear everything that that you think people need to know.
Well, just again, that you guys would be supporting a 28-year-old festival in this amazing city. We have so many incredible winery partners. I mean, Flambeaux has been such a supporter, and we would love for you to try all of their wines at NOWFE. And there's an event for everybody. And I know that sometimes people are discouraged, wondering if they don't have enough wine experience to do a wine festival. You absolutely do. We have so much fun. From our wine dinners to our labs to the grand tastings to Royal Street and our high-end wine event called Vinola, where you can find art and Flambeau. There's something for everyone. We're having an amazing burlesque brunch with champagne. There's just so much you can do, and I think that you'll have a lot of fun.
Well, we can't wait, and we're going to be talking a lot and hopefully getting you in all of these virtual tastings, at least in the comments, so we can kind of hear what's going on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you go. I'm going to bring in Horatio, but we're going to continue to talk about NOWFE and try to get him involved and just have some fun. Somebody asked if we have cabs. We're about to do 2 really amazing cabs that we produced. So I want you to stick around for that, Aimee, okay?
Perfect. Thank you guys so much.
Talk to you soon.
Cheers.
Okay, cheers.